We will call the meeting for Thursday, March the 16th to order. Hopefully we'll have some other members join us as we proceed through the day. The first item on the agenda is minutes approval. They were sent out to you by email. Minutes for January 10th, 11th, 12th, and 18th. Any discussion or corrections to the minutes? Is there a motion to approve? Senator Gossage?
I move we approve the amendments, Mr. Chair.
Warren seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. We will now open the hearing on House Bill 2197. Eileen, can you give us a bill brief?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. This is the last bill brief of session. Yay! Okay, so don't spoil my fun, Mr. Chair. Bill brief on House Bill 2197. As originally drafted, House Bill 2197 would amend provisions of the First-Time Homebuyer Saving Account Act to, number one, add language providing that the naming of a designated beneficiary of a first-time home buyer savings account would not create a survivorship interest in the account for the named designated beneficiary. If the account holder were to die, the balance of the account would be paid to the payable on death beneficiary, or if there is no named payable on death beneficiary, in accordance with the provisions of the Kansas Probate Code. Number two, it would add language providing that a financial institution may rely on such financial institution's account records to determine a payable on death beneficiary for a first-time home buyer's savings account. If a situation were to occur where the financial institution's records were to conflict with any tax form required by the Secretary of Revenue pursuant to the Act, the payable on death beneficiary in the financial institution's records would control. Number three is we're changing the term transfer on death to payable on death for purposes of the Act. The House Financial Institutions and Pensions Committee amended the bill to include a provision stating that the state treasurer may have non-exclusive authority to market the first-time home buyers savings account program to account holders and financial institutions throughout the state, and may report on the marketing initiatives in the state treasurer's annual report. The House Committee of the Whole further amended the bill by making a technical amendment to the bill to correct an internal reference. And on February 23rd, the House Committee of the Whole passed 2197 on a bill of 121-1. And with that, Mr. Chair, I can stand for questions.
Thank you, Eileen. Committee, are there questions? I see none. We will now turn our attention to the proponents. We have Kelly Vanswool with the Kansas Bankers Association. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. Kelly Vanswool with Kansas Bankers Association. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today in support of House Bill 2197. The First-Time Homebuyer Savings Account Act was moved through the legislature in 2021. It did not go into effect until July 1 of 2022. So we don't have a lot of data yet on how many of these accounts are being opened, but when this act was passed, the Kansas Bankers Association publicized it in our legal update, in our deposit account documents, and we got a lot of feedback and questions back from the bankers about the payable on death provision. So the initial bill did allow for a first-time homebuyer savings account to include a payable on death beneficiary, which we appreciate because that makes it really easy on the financial institutions when something happens to the owner of the account. It makes it very clear that they can pay those funds out to whoever the payable on death beneficiary is, and that's a recognized estate planning process under our statute. Their concern was that when the Department of Revenue created the tax form for this account, it has a spot on the form where you list the designated beneficiary of the account. In theory, the payable on death beneficiary and the designated beneficiary could be two different people. And if that happens, who controls? So we just want to make it very clear that it would be the bank or the financial institution's payable on death record that would control, because that is a recognized estate planning process and the tax form is not. The other change of going from transfer on death to payable on death is because transfer on death term is typically used for investment accounts, whereas payable on death is used for deposit accounts. So that's just a small change there. And then the amendment that was brought in the House to move to the treasurer's office for marketing, we consider that a friendly amendment. It makes sense. The treasurer is already marketing 529's accounts and Able Savings accounts, and they understand how these work, and we think that marketing will work well together and just bring more attention to this program. I thank you for the time to listen to this today, and I'm ready to stand for questions whenever you're ready.
Kelly, thank you. Committee, are there questions? Did you ever figure out where the white goes when the snow melts?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I almost made it all session without it. So when the snow melts, the white disappears because it's something about the reflection from the sun off of the snow. That's as deep as I can go on that. Thank you.
I'm glad you were prepared.
Always. Thank you.
Okay, we will now turn to Brandon Fenton, who is with the Kansas Association of Realtors. Welcome, Brandon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Brandon Fenton, Public Policy Field Director with the Kansas Association of Realtors. Thank you for the opportunity to provide support testimony for House Bill 2197. The technical adjustments in this bill just make it easier for our partners in financial institutions to administer the accounts. The clarifying provisions are really to their benefit. We also welcome the state treasurer taking a leadership role in marketing these accounts. We believe that any change that helps push these accounts out to more Kansans and more financial institutions are positive. We believe that both of these changes are positive indeed. And just thank you for the opportunity to testify on this bill, and happy to stand for any questions.
Brandon, thank you very much for your testimony. Committee, are there questions? I see none. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Let me call your attention to written-only proponent testimony from Stephen Johnson. Is there any other proponents on the bill? Anyone wishing to oppose the bill? Are there any neutral testimony on the bill? Seeing none, we will close the hearing on House Bill 2197. Committee, I don't think this is very controversial. It did pass the House 121 to 1. I think it's pretty simple. Does the committee have a desire to work this, or would you like to come back another day? Senator Olson.
Oh, he's going to make it. Put this as registered?
I do not. Chair would certainly entertain that motion if so desire.
I do.
Second?
I have a question.
Okay. Let me get a second first. Okay, we have a second. Now we'll open it for discussion. Senator Gossage.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I probably should have, I was still reading, so I probably should have asked this when one of the proponents was up. I'm just trying to understand this home buyer savings account, and that doesn't go back to the state if the person is deceased, because it goes to whom? I'm trying to understand.
Kelly?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Senator, for your question. So the account owner who puts the money into the account, when they pass away, it will go to their payable on death beneficiary, or if they don't do that, back through the probate process. But the state will recoup any tax benefits that happened. But the money will still stay with the account owner.
I'm sorry. So the home buyer savings account, it's the home buyer's money, or the person who put their money, it's their own money that they're putting in.
That's right. So my parents could open a home buyer savings account and make me the beneficiary of it, and then I would use that money to purchase or build my first home.
That's what I needed. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Committee, is there any other discussion on House Bill 2197? Okay, I see none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. House Bill 2197 is passed out favorably and to be placed on the consent calendar. Senator Warren, do you have a guest?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I do. I have a page today who's also a constituent. Her name is Phoebe Martin. If you want to stand up, please. She's a junior in high school at a private high school nearby, and she's part of the Kansas City Youth Symphony. So she plays the viola. So very excited to have her here today, and welcome to the Senate. Appreciate that. So, or I guess committee anyway. It's Senate committee, but.
Okay, committee, if you have looked at your calendar, we are not meeting tomorrow, and all of next week is meeting to call upon the chair. I don't anticipate meeting, but if something comes up, I wanted to have that opportunity to meet. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the committee members. I think we went through a lot of bills this year, more than normal, and we did it in record time. I want to sincerely thank the staff. They're the ones that keep this train rolling, and so thank you very much to them. Anything else? No more trick questions for Kelly?
I'm glad that trick question went to that Kelly and not.
All right, committee, thank you very much. Senator Cluse. Thank you. It's been a good year. We'll get all those House bills put somewhere. So, okay, we are adjourned.